in the last 150 years. And we have to remind you to look into your own heritage. Okay. Part of that heritage is also in the English language. Long ago, I gave a lecture very long ago, back in the 70s, on the spiritual content of the English language. I don't know how many would remember that. Okay. If you really go into the words, you find the transcendental truths. But I'm not going to speak on that tonight. So, first of all, we must understand what we mean by the word consciousness. So actually the title, Physiological Measurements of the States of Consciousness, is a contradiction in terms. Consciousness cannot be measured. Consciousness cannot be measured. It is an immeasurable transcendental reality, a force field. Whether it permeates the entire universe or not is irrelevant to it. Let's go back over that sentence. Whether that force permeates the entire universe or not is irrelevant to its nature. Because the universe, from the point of view of the transcendental, is a finite existence. It may be immeasurable by our powers. The universe may be immeasurable by our powers, our present powers. No one knows how many light years the vast spaces extend between galaxies and beyond galaxies. Yet, it is a world made of matter, not of the spiritual force. Well, in a way, that's again, we are going into very touchy ground. And I don't want to contradict myself later further on. Okay. I have to be very careful. In understanding philosophy, your terminology should be very clear and should not contradict much, as also in the language of science. Okay. So I want you to be a stateless person. No, person cannot be stateless. A stateless being. Person is a state. It's a composition of many constituents. The transcendent is not composed, is not a compound of many constituents. About the transcendence, the genders cannot be used, singular and plural cannot be used, is neither masculine nor feminine nor neuter, like the word Om, which is neither masculine nor feminine nor neuter, like the word Allah, of which a plural cannot be formed in the language. Yeah. So let's try to even touch the fringes of the scarves of this transcendental mother, and this entire universe immeasurable by our measurements. This shawl that I am wearing and these little fronds, or whatever you would call them, I take one of these little threads sticking out here, and the tiniest end of it In the transcendental consciousness, that is where the entire vast, by us immeasurable universe resides. From the measurements of the transcendental, that is the size of your entire universe. Trillions of galaxies, uncountable zillion light years apart, all of that, they fit in the pinhead so far as the transcendence is concerned. We are high and mighty, conquerors, winners, aggressors. No. So that is what we mean by the word consciousness. So whether it is in the body or not is irrelevant to it. What body are we talking about? Not your body and mind, the universe body. For its vast, truly infinite being, this whole universe body is proportionately, I told you, its size. Pinhead. We can marvel and wonder at the vastness of this universe. But does God ever sit down up there somewhere and say, look at this marvelous, wonderful universe which extends so far? He, she, it, the consciousness, the word synonymous with the word God, synonymous with word God. To that God, that tiny pinhead called the universe, is there or not there, is irrelevant to the existence of that consciousness, to the being of that consciousness. We, the great philosophers, can marvel at it, wonder at it, unravel its secrets. So please understand what we mean by the word consciousness. Happens to be inside that pinhead, and inside that pinhead, in one pinhead, how many molecules? That many living beings on the earth. All of us. Each a live molecule. Nowadays they are looking for a Higgs boson at the Fermi lab, which is called the God particle. So they found a place where God resides in the brain, and now they're going to find the atom. And God will sit there and say, Okay. So, when this infinite life force, by its one minute fragment, pinhead size fragment, becomes the universe, because all of this universe can fit in one pinhead.